So hello second channel, you'll probably be watching this already. Get it zoomed in and let's go live. Right, we are live. Let's get my video up. Right, top chat is ready. Just put it on the Discord for now. Oh, wait. Just sharing this online. Alright, copy and paste in the Discord. Streaming now. But yeah, I hope everyone's okay. I want to talk about this stupid AOC stuff. Just has people's blood boiling a lot. So, I haven't seen this video. But I want to give my takes on it. Like, I don't know why everyone's so fucking mad about this, to be honest. It's so stupid. But yeah, we'll get into that. Because leftists and Republicans are obviously really pissed off. I just don't get it, to be honest. And I think it stems from a problem of what people think AOC is. What I think my problem generally is I see AOC and Bernie Sanders as politicians, right? And they're politicians I like more than most politicians, but they're still politicians at the end of the day. So it's not like, you know, that's me at the Met Gala wearing a tax the Ritz. I don't know. It's just I think politicians, you can obviously hold them to like a high standard, but the standard we often hold people like AOC to is just ridiculous, I think, in my opinion, because she's one congressperson. How many are there? Is it like 400 or something? Probably. I think there might be way more than that. Let me check. I'm not American, so how many people in Congress? So there's 500. Oh no, 400. Yeah, I was right. There's 435 people in Congress, right? 100 people in the Senate. So she's not even a senator. She's not a governor. So I don't really understand why people think she's like the most powerful person in the whole Democratic Party. Like the squad, yeah, collectively you can make a little group which have some sort of power, but you don't really have, you know, enough power to really affect change like they think they do. It's an ugly dress. I think the dress is nice. I just think the writing is a bit tacky, but I think some Americans should come to the UK. You can see how great our left-wing politicians are. Mostly they're really shit, to be honest. Especially the ones that even have a semblance of power. But, yeah, I'll wait for some more people to when I really dive into it, but I think it's silly. But the thing with AOC, I'm gonna go through some stuff that I like that she said and stuff that like, cause she's really mainstream. I think people don't see. That's what annoys me a bit more as well, right? So like, people are mad at AOC on the left because she's not like the most hardcore leftist person ever, right? But people need to remember the thing is AOC is so fucking mainstream, like with liberals especially, which I think is a good thing because she turns around and says stuff like this. Can you guys see that? Okay. Which, especially in American politics, which is so like, both parties are massive simps for Israel. To get someone who liberals quite idolise to say shit like this, and even the UK, you don't get many people saying stuff like this, is fucking crazy. So I give her massive credit for saying that, but it's also good because that's what I mean. If you think the stunt is stupid or whatever, that's one thing, right? But she is like appealing to these more like liberal left people, right? And that's good because, like, for me, for example, the Young Turks YouTube channel is like a gateway for a lot of people to more progressive and then left-wing politics. So I don't know why people like her and Bernie Sanders cannot be that, but in like politics. I don't get why it's like AOC has to be like a communist or some shit like that. I personally don't care if she goes to the Met Gala, and wearing that dress is obviously like a stunt, but the Met Gala is really fucking weird anyway, like the stuff people wear. So I don't really give a shit, to be honest. So in my opinion, for like a politician, I like her the same way, I like Bernie Sanders. But, Bernie Sanders is probably more of a left-wing person than he lets on, especially if you hear him talk when he was like mayor and stuff back in the 80s. But again, if they're and think of how many people have become more progressive left-wing because of someone like Bernie Sanders entering mainstream politics in the United States and stuff. So that's what I mean when people need to see these people for what they are. Like, I personally think she's a decent enough person as well. I just think playing politics like you have to, but that's the other thing as well. If you're in politics, you have to play politics. You can't just go in and this is annoying. This is why I don't want to do politics personally. Like I wanted to when I was younger, and I don't want to be a politician now. It's because you've got to play the game, and that's just the reality. Because if you don't control the levers of power in a political system, if you do not play the game, you're never going to control it, and that's just the sad reality. So I don't give a shit really about people playing politics a bit more. Now, what I do mind is sometimes they don't have great takes on different things, and I can disagree with them. With like before the Israel stuff this year, AOC flip-flopped a lot on the Israel stuff, but then I appreciated a lot when she would say stuff like this, when it was apparent like, the whole mood was kind of changing, especially like with American liberals as well, and just like just more liberal elements in maybe like the UK and stuff, seeing Israel's like aggression for what it was. So sorry, I'm going to take some more of your comments quick. Sorry, what are people saying? The game eventually corrupts. Well, like, the thing is, Bernie Sanders has been in Congress since 1993, I guess. And he definitely has had some bad moments. Like, voting for the crime bill is obviously the worst part. But the thing is, like, with politics, is of course they included a bunch of, like, domestic violence laws in the crime bill to to get people like Bernie to vote for it. But I think the thing is, with Jeremy Corbyn and Bernie Sanders, what you've proven with them two is that you can have two left-wing politicians that stay true to their ideologies, broadly speaking. Obviously, everyone makes mistakes, especially politicians like those two. But at the same time, the system, the thing is, politics is not the be-all or end-all. And getting involved more with local stuff, I think can be like really helpful. It doesn't matter if you're in the UK or the US, but what was I gonna say? But like even in the UK, like look what happened to Jeremy Corbyn. He was like eaten up and spat back out, and he's way more openly left wing than American leftists and stuff. Um, so yeah, but Halo fan, that's kind of like Bernie playing the game because he's still not in the party. Like he doesn't sit as a Democrat, does he? He sits as an independent. Okay, do people in the chat think you can get you do you think okay? I'll try and word this properly. I obviously advocate for anti-capitalism and everything like that, but like you've got to operate within a capitalist system. Like people often tell me that I'm a hypocrite for making money off YouTube and Patreon because I'm anti-capitalist. But then sometimes you've got to play, and but that is kind of like, to be honest, why politics is so shitty. And I don't really know what the answer is to introduce more anti-capitalism. To be honest, if you're looking for solutions, I'm probably not the best person because I'm a massive doomer. And in the recent years, especially with the 2019 election in the UK, I kind of accepted that we're fucked basically. In terms of, I don't think humans are necessarily like uncooperative with each other. I just think capitalism has brainwashed so many of us, and I just don't think that's gonna go away in time to save the planet. Essentially, so like capitalism is like a death cult, but a death cult that has brainwashed like millions and millions of people, especially in the most powerful countries. So I'm not the best person, but like I've become a bit more just yeah. Like people are saying you shouldn't be like take what you can get, but I've become a bit more like that, and I think maybe the UK scene at the moment, right, is all the thing is in the UK, the Conservatives have like the biggest majority in years, and the Labour Party is actively purging all its left wing members. So when I see someone like AOC, sorry, is it not there? When I see someone like AOC, who's not, I wouldn't say she's the face of the Democratic Party, but is a very prominent member, especially for is her second term in Congress now. Like that is something not to be. I wouldn't say hopeful for the US. I don't think there's much hope for the US. But I mean that is something where compared to the UK, it's objectively better. Now, of course, I understand the arguments that the Overton window in the US is crazy. You guys don't even have universal healthcare and stuff. But anyway, in terms of her little stunt, generally, yeah, like I said, find something else to be mad about. I don't give a shit. I like AOC a lot. She seems like a good person. She's not like my political idol. I don't aspire to have her politics or be like her, but I appreciate her for what she is, and she clearly does like really good work with her own district, which is part of being in Congress. So the stunt was like cute and everything. People saying it's like counterproductive and everything. I don't know. It depends what her goal was. If you want to appeal to the lib feminists and shit like that, as well, then I'm sure they'll eat that stuff up. And that's what I see AOC as, like I was saying a bit earlier. I see her just as this person who is great for getting people into left-wing politics a bit more in a, I guess, what's the way? In a more palatable way, I guess. But I'm going to go into, stuff I said that she has said that I like. People in the chat, yeah. The thing is, like, what does it take now? Like, can you really achieve the change you want with electoral politics? Because as much as like we don't like to think about this in Western countries, if you think about major changes in countries, what causes that change? And a lot of the time, it is violent revolution, whether that's China, Cuba, Vietnam. Various other countries, there is a lot of violent struggle at times, which is like the last thing I'd love to advocate for, but it's just the reality of these situations. And the thing with the US, what's quite frightening is that there's a situation where I feel like people could be in the next like 20, 30 years would be desperate enough to like have a mass movement for the overthrow of the government. Not like what happened this year, but I mean like a proper one. But I fear that like with the US is so mental with how much they're brainwashed, they're just going to completely blame it on the wrong people. Because hypothetically, with something like the Bolshevik Revolution, I feel like it was easier for people to identify. All right. Sorry, OBS disconnected for a second there. We're back, I think. We're back.
Students with ADHD save
All right, I'm back. Sorry. All right. So what was I saying? Yeah, I was saying like with things like the Cuban, Chinese Revolution, people know who their enemies are, and that's why obviously a lot of these people lean more socialist. And even in the Arab Spring, which is really interesting, I was watching this. I think it was the Tahrir Square documentary about Egypt, and a lot of the people are saying like, you know, I'm not a socialist or like blah blah blah, but then they just talk about being anti-capitalist basically, because Arab Spring was anti-capitalist at its core, and that's why a lot of people like the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a weird organization in that it has been fairly socialistic, and that sounds really strange for an Islamist organization, but in terms of the Muslim Brotherhood historically has embedded itself with like trade unions and helping poor communities and stuff. Obviously they have this hardline Islamic ideology and stuff, but that's why the Muslim Brotherhood were able to win an election in Egypt. But it's because people were generally anti-capitalist. But I feel like in the US, compared to most countries, is that people don't, because of the brainwashing of like conservative talk radio originally and like YouTube, Fox News and stuff, people don't know who their enemies are. Like, of course, fascists always direct the hate of anti-capitalism generally towards like migrants or refugees, like stealing jobs or some sort of racism as well. But that's why I feel like with the US has such bad poverty. Like I was reading some thread the other day on late stage capitalism on Reddit, and it was really interesting. It was showing an American town or city. I think it was LA, and it was showing the homeless encampment, but it was showing all these people who were totally high on like fentanyl or something, just like walking around like zombies. And the comments are really interesting in that. Oh shit! I just opened something by accident. The comments are really interesting in that a lot of them were from poorer European countries. Like one comment was like, "I'm from Bosnia, which is ranked like this in Europe, and I've never seen stuff like this." Or like, "I'm from Romania, which is ranked like so and so in Europe, and I've never seen stuff like that." And like that's where I picked up the saying that America is just like, I don't use the term third world, but the saying was America is just a third world country in a Gucci belt, which I thought was a very good description, because if you guys have been listening to me talk about this stuff for a while, I've always said I feel like America has a lot more in comparison, or like with the BRIC countries like India, China, Russia, not South Africa, but Brazil as well. I feel like America is kind of like those countries a bit more, in the sense that it's got like upper class, middle class, and then just absolutely like huge drop off, where just the poverty in America is just absolutely insane. And I actually read a good I don't know where this is from. I read a good passage someone retweeted today. It's about like Americans who fought a revolution about taxation and representation and shit like that, literally pay, when all is said and done, pay similar taxes to Western European countries and stuff like that, but they get far less benefits, and they're the most likely to be victims of like predatory capitalism and obviously insolvency and healthcare debt and everything like this. And I thought it was really interesting. Like I always say, America is the most cucked by capitalism country on earth, because it doesn't have the bare minimum, but at the same time it tells itself is the greatest country on earth for a variety of things. So yeah, it's an interesting, what I'm saying to people in the chat, like with the alternative to electoral politics, for me, it's a very hard one, because of America is like the perfect example. Like we have loads of problems in the UK, misinformation, but I feel like in the UK generally people what I feel like in the UK is like with a lot of the old industrial communities and shit voting for the Tories in 2019, I feel like they are victims of misinformation, but that the brainwashing has worked in that it's made them vote against their own interests. But I still think a lot of these people, like working class, still know that enemies are the rich. But I think that in the weird way, the misinformation has worked on them for the electoral element, like Brexit and the election. Whereas I think with the US, it's not even just like an electoral thing. It's not just about making, and the brainwashing hasn't worked in just making poorer people in like conservative states, especially white people, vote Republican. It's literally like their whole ideology, obviously the extreme bipartisan nature in America, their whole ideology is just like a cult basically. It's like deprogramming Americans. I feel like it is way harder because even with the electoral politics and like the two party system, it's like you will just vote for Trump if you're Republican, right? That you're just expected to do that. You have to vote for the Republican nominee, no matter how like maybe awful he is. And I feel like because of the religious element as well in the UK, in the US, it just really has divided these people up. Where is there any hope for ever changing a lot of Republicans' minds, like from the brainwashing? Like maybe you can make them realize like corporations are not their friends and stuff, but will you ever get them to realize like I don't know socialistic people are on their side and it's actually like the economic system which is to blame? But what's so smart about what the American ruling class have done, I don't know, when this exactly started. You could probably say the 1900s, like really early 1900s, is that capitalism, religion, and patriotism in America is just all blended together. There's pretty much no distinction. And something that I always find really funny talking to Americans, a lot of conservative Americans seem to think the political spectrum means left wing means you're for authoritarianism, and being more and more conservative means you're for freedom. Like it's bizarre to me. Like I've argued with someone and they're saying like that is the political spectrum right there. Like the right wing means freedom, the left wing means authoritarianism, and that's just the political spectrum. And I was talking about like what about like economic stuff, and it's like well capitalism is obviously right wing because it's freedom, whereas socialism is left wing because it's authoritarianism. And it's a really like bizarre concept is that a lot of Americans seem to think you can't have an authoritarian capitalist state, which there are plenty in the entire world. Like I don't even need to list them because it's so obvious. There's so many, and that's the bizarre thing about Americans is that, like with this brainwashing, especially on the right, it's just so I don't know wrapped up in everything. And then to me, that's why I get a bit hopeless. Is like I feel like America's the perfect case study of this, but it's like can I ever convince a lot of people the economic system's their enemy? Especially with Americans who think the economic system, the ideology is just so a part of their identity. When obviously it's not. Like capitalism isn't really is nothing to do with your identity. If you don't have capital and you're just a minimum wage worker, it has nothing to do with your identity. But so many of them, especially in red states, think it's part of their identity because it's so wrapped up in the flag, basically. Probably way worse during the Cold War, but essentially that is what Americans think, is like freedom is capitalism, conservatism is freedom, bizarrely, even though it's, in America especially, it's far more authoritarian about your freedoms. Like it's the conservative states criminalizing protests and criminalizing, transitions for trans people, or like the medical side, or what was the recent one? Obviously, like abortion bans and shit like that. So I don't know if Americans somehow confuse like straight up conservatism with libertarianism, which I'm sure is mixed in as well in America. But that's what makes me a bit hopeless in general. I know we're talking about AOC here, but in terms of AOC specifically, like I said, what I think she's helpful for, just like something like the Young Turks or even Bernie Sanders, but I think AOC is like even better for like liberals just as this like young face, obviously Latina woman. Um, and what I like about her personally is so many politicians, especially in the UK, feel like they just don't understand how young people think, basically, and don't know what they want. Where the good thing here's what I'll say: like people saying like, you shouldn't just be like, oh, take what you can get. I think AOC is a good politician for representing young people because even I think it's just like a lived-in experience thing. Like she has this experience of how shitty it is to be a worker. She's a bit older than me. I think she's like 5 years, maybe 6 years older than me. Whereas in the UK, all our leading figures are so old. Like the youngest Labour MPs I can think of, I know, probably like in their 40s and stuff. And it's still like they're maybe like older millennials, some of them, but it's just like a different world. And Jeremy Corbyn is really cool and everything, but he doesn't have that appeal that, like I said, when you're playing the game, AOC really has this, like, especially for American politics. She's a great speaker, obviously, like very attractive. And like with many American politicians, they literally do feel like they've been casted in a Hollywood film. Like even that fucking Joe Crowley in that Not Down the House documentary felt like he literally been casted because Americans are so fucking dramatic. But I feel like she's got a lot of that. And why I don't mind necessarily her not coming out and being like, oh, like I'm a communist or some shit like that, is like I said, sometimes you just got to play the game, and whether the change is fast enough, like Jamal Bowman and Corey Bush, like some of the stuff they say, I'm just like, fuck, I wish we had more of this in the UK, because they're just, especially Corey Bush, like, her life story is just crazy, and it's just cool that you can even have people like that in politics. Where in the UK, it feels like that for all the criticisms you can level at the squad and stuff, which is perfectly fine, legit. I don't think people are above criticism, but I think it's like mainly the double-edged sword of US politics is that because someone like AOC specifically crosses over into the mainstream of celebrity because of her social media use and things like the Met Gala. I think, whether this is she's brought it on herself, is people think these people's cultural influence translates to political power, basically. Like AOC, I'd say, probably actually has more of a cultural influence than actually political power as one, congressperson. I think they're on some sort of like economic committee as well. Whereas like if she was a senator or especially like a governor of somewhere, then that's someone who would have real political power. But I just feel like even the squad as big as the squad as big as it's getting, it's still not like really as much of a factor in US politics. Basically, what you'd need is like a squad of the Senate, pretty much as well, like maybe a group of let's say, I don't know, a significant group of Democratic senators to have this view to really get a lot more done. Obviously, because senators are in the confirmation process as well, and have a lot more say on different things. So in my general opinion, people with AOC, like I don't hold them to the highest. Okay, I'd hold all politicians to a high standard, but like in terms of AOC, I think the standard is just insane, to be honest, and I don't think she's ever going to please anyone. And generally, like as a politician, I like them showing how what it really is like to be in Congress, and just like the shit you have to deal with and how hard it is to deal with certain people, and just like the shitty bureaucracy of any party. I'd love a British AOC just to show people how shitty the fucking Labour Party is internally and stuff, or just someone who's like more relatable. Whereas I feel like Jeremy Corbyn is just, for me, he's not relatable. I just really like his politics, but I don't see myself in him. Really, I'd love basically like a younger Jeremy Corbyn. I'd love like a 30-year-old Jeremy Corbyn. But I think even the UK, like it feels like left-wing politicians cannot enter the mainstream like someone like AOC can in America. So I feel like that's an effective thing she's done, whether intentionally or not, is to enter the cultural, I guess, consciousness in America a lot more than other politicians, especially for someone, like I said, who doesn't actually have loads and loads of political power. Where in the UK, I'm thinking of, is it Mari Black, is the SNP one, who I like a lot, was one of the youngest MPs. But everyone just, I don't know, feel not out of touch, but just feels like a bit too old. I'd love some younger, more energetic MPs who could actually, I don't know, could actually make our generation more visible, because it feels like a lot of the stuff with like, okay, Zara Sultana, she's probably one of my favorite MPs in the UK. She's a bit younger than AOC. She's really cool. Muslim MP. She's Muslim MP. I don't want to get confused, because there's one MP I really like who donated half her salary to charity every year. I think it's her, but I just want to double check this, because I know there's two of them I like. Donates salary, but this might be the one from Nottingham. I'm just double checking. Oh, okay. She donated her thing to Coventry Food Bank, is what I'm. No, she is a Muslim MP. What am I saying? I read a bit article about saying she's dealt with Islamophobia and stuff. So she's really cool, but like she feels like such a one-off. There's a couple people like that. But anyway, I don't. There's more to politics than like mainstream federal electoral politics. And there's more, I guess, to politics than the House of Commons, although that is like more representative, I guess, and it is the power base in the UK for a lot of things. But yeah, I'm a bit of a doomer when it comes to politics. 2019 just really like has fucked my hope in anything being solved politically, and just the Tories are so crap. Was Corbyn really that uncharismatic? No, Corbyn, not as much as people made out. I don't think he's like a bad speaker at all. Corbyn's problem, not that it's been solved by Keir Starmer, who I think is an even worse speaker. Corbyn is very mild-mannered, I guess, which in the UK media gets sort of shown as weak, I guess. Americans are just like a different like breed. Like they're born to be celebrities. I feel like I can't think of like any US politician in my head who doesn't seem like they've literally been casted from an American film. Even someone like Nancy Pelosi, or like people like Chuck Schumer and stuff, even people who aren't like as eccentric, it's literally like they've been cast. You could imagine them in some sort of HBO show about politics. You could imagine all these people in House of Cards, for example. So that's what I think. Like I think it's just an American thing. I think all Americans think they're the star of their own Hollywood movie. Because I don't know, Americans just like are all like a lot more polished when it comes to presentation. Maybe it's like a vanity thing in American culture, where you all have to like, I don't know, present a sort of public face which is very unrealistic, or maybe it's just I don't know, something else, I guess. I'll just read some comments now. I've just been talking for a bit. Alright, let's have a look. Sorry, I've missed a load. I might not do what I normally do. Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining. Hi, Red Leader. Cron's clans. I disagree. The Muslim Brotherhood definitely isn't tied to Well, Muslim Brotherhood isn't tied to either of them, I'd say. Obviously, like a lot of them are. Sorry, I've missed loads of comments. I'm just reading. Hello, Mr. Kavernacle. Hi, one produced. I never said the Muslim Brotherhoods were socialists. Alright, I've been going back, but I've just seen people comment on my old things. Hot take, I don't think we should hate people for not being left-wing enough. Yeah, I think it's dumb. Like, okay, liberals at like a higher level are, of course, like, in my mind, they're all like capitalists, right? So they're like legit, enemies of like lower classes or just working class, just anyone really. But liberal people, like as individual citizens, like how many people in your life do you know you're friends with, or your family, or their family members, and you know they're decent enough people, but you might not agree with their politics, right? And how many people, how many of them do you feel like you could actually shift to your position a bit more? So, oh, sorry. So we shouldn't discard people on like an individual level. I totally get like Nancy Pelosi is of course like she might be like socially not like the worst person ever, but economically she is, you know, someone who upholds imperialism and capitalism. So of course she's someone who's an enemy of just like general like workers everywhere. But you know, your mum who's a liberal, your best friend who's a liberal, your, I don't know, relative who's a liberal, even if they're like some sort of I'm still with her liberal and shit. I don't think they're totally irredeemable. And I think, especially if we're talking about electoral politics, and that's why I'm giving AOC a bit of a pass for some of the shit she does, is you've got to win people over. But Biden, or even Obama, there's a good article in The Guardian of 2008. It's called Racists Who Voted for Obama. It's about traditionally Republican people who voted for Obama, and they were pretty racist because of like economic stuff and some other like healthcare related stuff, right? So politics is a game where you've got to get people to vote for you who might not agree with your positions like totally. So AOC tricking or influencing more libs into positions I agree with, I think is a good thing, because there are millions of people who do like activism and everything. It doesn't have to be everyone. Like AOC doesn't have to be, I don't know, doing loads of like on for activism everywhere. Like Bernie Sanders doesn't really do that really. So AOC saying, let's see if we've got the full quote here about the apartheid thing. Yeah, apartheid states aren't democracies. And then you got like, obviously Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar are a bit more outspoken. But this is something which was quite amazing to see, these people calling Israel an apartheid state on the floor of Congress in America, like literally one of the most pro-Israel countries in the whole world, and you got people in mainstream politics saying it's an apartheid state, right? I'm pretty sure, because of how crap UK politics has been on the Israel stuff lately, I think might find it hard to find Jeremy Corbyn calling Israel an apartheid state in the last 5 years. Let me have a look. Unless he said it in the last year when he wasn't in the Labour Party. Alright, so this is something they used to smear him with. Jeremy Corbyn said it in 2012 that it's an apartheid state, and they dug that up to smear him with it. So that's what I'm saying. The conversation like in American like more liberal places about Israel, I think, is influenced by people like this getting up in front of the world and saying, you know, in the American politics, Israel is an apartheid state. And I think that's something, you know, that I think AOC's been good for, if I have to give her credit for stuff. Alright, reading some more stuff. I hate Seth saying, I despise the revisionist liberal obsession with saying America was always progressive, as if George Washington wasn't basically an Anglo-Nazi and we're the largest apartheid colony project. Yeah, like the thing is that is obviously like a problem with liberals in general, is like liberal patriotism, basically. Like there's something worth saving, and that's what my discussion last Tuesday was about. We were talking about can you be a patriotic socialist, and basically saying, what is redeemable as the American state? What is redeemable enough in there, like in the founding of it, or like some sort of the history of it, which would make you a patriotic socialist? But yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah, We the People wasn't for Africans, Asians, or even that's another important thing. Like you can say like we should, you know, if you're a liberal, maybe you can say like possibly it wasn't written for everyone, but let's reclaim it and let's say this was for everyone. But I mean, like for me as like someone who's way more left leaning, it's like I just, you know, it was written to maintain this like genocidal slave state, and that's how I'm going to take the words, not pretend they were like something for the good of humanity. I think AOC at some point will run for president. Yeah, it feels kind of inevitable at this point, doesn't it? Like, yeah, I can't see that not happening. And also, I kind of, it depends really, because she's obviously very popular, but is she popular enough across the country to win an election? It is the main thing I'd say. She could win a primary perhaps, but I don't know if she could win a general election. Where did the Corbyn anti-Semite smear originate from? It just existed when he became the leader, basically, because he's always been opposed to Israeli colonialism and stuff. So it came out pretty quick. Smith Black saying, "How about you run for office? Trump prove that anyone can win anything, and you don't have any skeletons in your closet." The thing is, although I don't have any skeletons in my closet, I don't need the skeletons in my closet because I've said enough stuff online which makes me not acceptable to mainstream British politics. Basically, I'm thinking like a million stuff. Like, I can see the smears already. Say I actually got elected. Kavernacle comes from IRA family, IRA apologist. Kavernacle said he's anti-Zionist. He hates Jews or something. Kavernacle said X, Y, and Z. Britain is a fundamentally racist country. Blah 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 blah. To be honest, people like me, the reason there are more of us in British politics is if we actually got in power, like Corbyn, the whole establishment media machine just all gets together and destroys your credibility. Like, genuinely, how people thought Corbyn was going to make Stalin's USSR on the UK, I don't know how they believe that, but a lot of people did. Also funny that a lot of right-wingers said they care that Corbyn supposedly was an anti-Semite. Most right-wingers, of course, don't really give a shit about this stuff, and they're actually probably the worst anti-Semites as well, pushing conspiracy theories like, cultural Marxism and shit like that. YouTuber becomes politician. This isn't that far-fetched. Well, Cole Benjamin tried to become the UKIP MEP, didn't he? Oh, hey, Christy. Long time no speak. Oh, I did pop in your chat a couple weeks ago. Maybe it's a month ago. Time doesn't really have any meaning these days. Sorry, I was just reading your comment and it flicked down. I'm going to try and find it. Cav is my university professor. Christy saying, the whole dress thing is just ridiculousness, not on her part. I'd wear that dress if I was offered to wear it too. People like Jimmy Dore are going to use it. Yeah, exactly. And I honestly, like, as something performative for the libs to make them like her more, it's fine. I don't care. People like Bernie because he cut through the bullshit. Yeah, he did. So does people like Jeremy Corbyn as well. But like the thing is, this is how fucked up it is. They even tried the anti-Semitism thing with Bernie Sanders, who's like a Jewish person whose family got killed in the Holocaust. Like that's the levels they will steep to. White conservative Christians calling Bernie Sanders anti-Semitic. AOC is of course like a far more like palatable version of, like, I wouldn't say it's the same as Bernie Sanders, but like of course more polished. I think she's actually a lot more careful with. But the thing is, I think the what is acceptable to say in just general Western politics, especially in the US, has kind of shifted a bit, where you can say stuff a bit more freely, but at the same time, I still think maybe, just like with Bernie Sanders, she's not totally honest about all her political positions. In terms of, she may be more outspoken than she lets on, I think. But that's what, I guess, these sorts of political systems do to you, really. The dress wasn't great, but she looks good in it. Yeah, that's another part. Like, I just think she generally looked nice, and that like just triggers people anyway. I do find her really attractive though. That's my one. I only simp for a couple like celebrities. The only three off the top of my head is Vanessa Hudgens, AOC, and Lauren Mayberry, who's the lead singer of Churches, the Scottish band. They're the only three people I actually like kind of simp for a bit. Like think like these people are actually like really good looking. Other than that, I can't really think of too many other celebrities. Just them three. So I'm reading more comments. Who's liberal? I don't know what you were referring to then, just because you said it so long ago. Thanks, Spooky Kitty. Oh, I also read your comment about my video, and you saying you appreciate me opening, being more personal. So I appreciated that comment. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What's healthy gamer, David Packman? So I'm reading more stuff. Have I talked about God of War yet? No, I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Yeah, TY279. I say that all the fucking time. It's hilarious these people will say Che Guevara was a mass murderer and then simp for George Washington and Thomas. Yeah, it's so fucking true. If I'm not allowed to like Che Guevara or Ho Chi Minh, you're not allowed to like George Washington, who was far worse than both of them. Like, objectively way worse. Killed more people, genocidal. Like, the thing is, I don't understand. Che Guevara, right? I don't understand how this guy was ever called a mass murderer, because like just because he oversaw some trials where people were executed. He wasn't in charge of the Cuban government. He left pretty quickly to go fight in revolutionary wars in the Congo and Bolivia. Even if you like read his like war journal, he doesn't kill like loads of people, and I don't think he executes anyone either. I think Fidel and some others did the executing if they ever caught like a traitor or something. But yeah, George Washington was the fucking president. You can be a nationalist and a socialist. Yeah, it's cool being a fucking Nazi. Would she be a good president? I mean, the thing is, because of the US system in general, I think that the best you can hope for, like, for example, I said if Bernie Sanders became president, how quickly would leftists turn on him? And I think pretty quick, because you have to really, because of how slow moving American politics is. And okay, if Bernie Sanders got in, would he even be able to pass universal healthcare? Like, would he be able to do that? And that's because of how fucked up the whole system is in general, right? He'd still be very limited, but also you'd have to state your political capital on only a few issues. So you're like the healthcare president, or like the anti-intervention president, or some shit like that. So I feel like AOC would be faced with a similar problem. And if AOC was president when Republicans controlled the Congress and the Senate, or if Bernie Sanders, what could they realistically even do that is like significant? You have a good knowledge of US politics. Yeah, thanks. That's another thing. Thanks, Raf. A lot of Americans get very funny when I talk about US politics. I had to argue with someone on Twitter the other day. He said nothing worse than this made me fucking laugh. He said nothing worse than an ignorant European talking about American politics. I suggest you read some more Howard Zinn. And I was like, first of all, Howard Zinn is like basic bitch political science and even history. Like, I read him in history more than I read him in political science. And also, like, obviously, like, for my history dissertation, I wrote about the Carter administration's foreign policy. For my master's thesis, I wrote about the first Gulf War and the US media's coverage of the first Gulf War. And also I did like most of my third year on the Vietnam War generally, and like loads of other American modules, like American foreign policy, other stuff. And also I just follow American politics loads. And I also like have an educational background that does focus on American politics. So I always found it funny. Like actually, my channel kind of started growing to start with because that was kind of like my little gimmick in that like I was a British guy who actually knew about American politics. Because I used to make like straight up political videos. Now I just make like more like cultural political ones. But yeah, like Americans. The thing is, I can get how it's annoying, but like at the same time, like people from other countries do know a lot about other countries. Like there's a guy who does a history of like Great Britain podcast, and he's American. I wouldn't say to him, "Oh, dumb American talking about British history. What do you know?" Like I suggest you read I don't know, some basic bitch book about UK history. Um, so read some more stuff. To be honest, if you guys would ever look to me for like a strategy to like make the socialist states of America or socialist Britain, I probably wouldn't be the best person just because I'm too much of a doomer. Like I've kind of accepted how much capitalism just ruins electoral politics. I simp for Lenin and Castro and no one else. I mean, I like them more than US leaders, I guess. I'm not a simp for either of them though. I think Kat Dennings is someone I'd simp for. She's attractive as well. I definitely agree with that. You simp for AOC, that explains everything. I mean, I simp for her on terms of her looks. Is what I find her very attractive. I think actually most Republicans' hate comes from them also finding her attractive, but knowing they'd never go for them. They tried to Corbyn Ilhan Omar. Yeah, that was pretty gross as well because obviously like, Nancy Pelosi and Chelsea Clinton jumped in on that. It's California Recall Day. Yeah, it's shit. Like what? Okay, I don't even understand. How do you have a recall? Like, what does that even? Like, I know Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's how he got in. So, what does that actually mean? What actually has to happen? Does my GF know? Yeah, we were actually speaking about it today. Like, if you're in like a serious relationship where you're both at like adults, you don't really care if they find someone else attractive. I mean, girls are a bit more open with it. Like, my girlfriend's always loved Leonardo DiCaprio. Who's another one she's always loved? Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't remember who else. A couple people. Vanessa Hudgens, I've always had like a crush on, and when I was younger. Sorry, I'm reading some more stuff. You were simping for Large for... I mean, I wasn't simping for him, but I was defending the look, I guess. So many doomers in the chat. It's kind of hard not to be these times. In these times. Okay, Shay does execute someone. Did I read that? Maybe... Red Leader, is that the guy... Maybe I'm confused. Is that the guy who, like, sold out those farmers and he kept, like, going away and coming back and they found out he was a spy or something? So the IRA isn't socialist. The original one, which like, my relatives were in, was more socialistic. Generally, a lot of our IRA organizations have been more socialist, but there's been weird offshoots of it. But like generally, yeah, anti-imperialist, more socialist, and more explicitly socialist. I guess the main organization, like the old school one. But then you have a couple different versions in the 40s, and then I guess the one people know a bit more coming from the 60s in Northern Ireland and stuff. AOC is gorgeous. Yeah, it's very attractive. Eat the rich. Do you remember that dumb discourse that eating the rich was like advocating for like genocide or some shit? Like some liberals getting really pissy about it. London is my city. No, England is my city. Americans like me, thank you. Thanks so much, Matt. Alright, people tell me what a recall is. Recalls are stupid. Wait, Ataturk simp. Who's an Ataturk simp? Oh, you guys talking about that general? Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I don't know how I feel about that because, like, of course, it's like a good thing because Trump is a lunatic. But then you think what I thought when reading that, I was like, well, what if this was Bernie Sanders, like or someone like him as president after 9/11 or something? Do you just like completely undermine him? So yeah, like when you're reading that, it's like it's good that he did that for like the world in general. But then it makes me think like, what would the military do if there was a left-wing person in power? So I read some more stuff. Yeah, I did read that though. Cafe Logis. Alright, sorry. So 2.7 million petitioners can trigger a recall. 10% of California voters. If your GF is older than wait, who you calling Leo? Is there someone called? A recall means an election where if the governor gets too unpopular, they can have a snap election. I was listening while gaming. I disagree with your take that people being patriotic for the founding fathers is equivalent for Shay, for the reason of optics. I mean, being patriotic for the founding fathers is way worse than being a simp for Che Guevara. Like these guys were like just really rich, wealthy men who owned slaves and built their whole like wealth on like capitalist exploitation. So Che Guevara is a way better person than any of them, in my opinion. If 50% of the votes say yes to recall, then whoever received the majority of votes in the second ballot only will become the new governor. Oh, okay. So that Larry Elder is the guy running against him or something? Sorry, let's read more comments. All right. Are you leaving, Christy? But yeah, thanks for joining the chat. Appreciate you spending some time listening to me. I do enjoy your live streams still, but they're on very late on a Friday. Sometimes I catch them. I am up really late, like every day. I like Fat Ford. Now I can brag that I have the body of the god. Yeah, that's good then because other people were saying like, oh, he's the villain. So it's actually saying like fat people are bad or something. But then I was thinking like, he's a god and like a lot of the gods are kind of shitty. Like Kratos isn't like a good dude either. But if you like, feel like he represents you, I guess that's a kind of a nice thing to see some more representation. Sorry, just changing the song. Yeah, Miles, you're talking about your sister. Well, a lot of rich people funded the IRA in the 70s and 80s, didn't they, from America? Probably wouldn't actually like agree very much with IRA's politics and stuff. I love how many English YouTubers are well up after midnight, like me. That's good. I mean, since I've been doing this full time, I just go to bed when I want. Right, I don't agree with that, to be honest. But I'm not going to say why, because I don't want to talk about conspiracy theories, just in case. So I'm just reading some more stuff. What's the criticism of Ataturk? I am genuinely green-eyed. Probably like genocide is probably the best criticism of Ataturk. And I'm not just talking about like the Armenian stuff. It's more the stuff with the Greeks in the 1920s. It's pretty crazy. I mean, Ataturk's like good for the Ottoman Empire in that he made Turkey like a more secular state. But the founding of Turkey was like absolutely brutal. Like the transition from the Ottoman Empire to Turkey was pretty crazy. Ataturk was just like basically like a complete chameleon to get into power. But basically every faction in Turkey thought he was on their side, pretty much, because he was a very good leader and very good at convincing people he's what they needed basically. But yeah, like the genocide. It's not just the Turks who do it, but the Greeks as well is mental. Like if you want to be a bit like feel a bit sick and just in a bit of like twisted awe at the scale of the genocide after World War I around the Ottoman territories, like what the Turks do to Armenians, Greeks, and what the Greeks do to the Turks and other Muslim minorities and stuff. It's just crazy. Like it's just so fucking brutal, and you just have like American and British journalists just for like fucking watching it. Obviously, they can't do anything, but they're just reporting on it. Currently, the moderates in Turkey are Ataturk simps, and they are the better option. Yeah, because Erdogan is basically like a once not that I don't know. Would he remake the Ottoman Empire? But he's obviously way more fucking religious, which is bad for Turkey in general. Kavernacle City is England. Yeah, exactly. I mean, optically, I mean, if I'm trying to appeal to an American liberal, maybe I wouldn't say that. But I mean, I'm not really trying to appeal to liberals. I mean, it maybe I wouldn't say I probably wouldn't say to AOC go out and talk about how great Che Guevara is. But at the same time, yeah, I'll fucking happily say it. Yeah, Larry Elder argued that slave owners should have got reparations. Well, newsflash to Larry Elder, they fucking did get reparations, especially the British one. It was like a fucking passed in Parliament. Have I talked about the Norwegian elections? I don't really have much to say, to be honest. Like, obviously very good. They're becoming more left wing, but you know, I don't know enough about it. Cafe Logis. I want to play that DLC for Immortals Phoenix Rising because it's set in with Chinese gods, which I don't know much about. How do I find your live schedule? On Offrio, it's normally just Tuesday and Thursday, but I don't really stream at a consistent time. It's normally about 1 o'clock my time, 1 a.m. Yeah, Red Leader, I haven't checked my DMs lately. I'll check it a bit later tonight. You're a night owl, Tommy? Yeah. Yeah, I am. Yeah, Lincoln, that's a depressing thing. People are more socialist than they think. Yeah, most of Corbyn's policies have overwhelming support. They do, but that's just the brainwashing of capitalism, isn't it? It's like destroying someone like Corbyn, even though his policies are popular. But that's, in a true democracy, you put forward your argument about the policies you want to introduce, stack that up against the other guy, and then you can make your mind up. But in a capitalist democracy, which is a bit of an oxymoron because I feel like capitalism and democracy are incompatible, that's not what politics is about. Sorry. Is this live? I got questions. Yeah. Yeah, the Turkish War of Independence is an orgy of slaughter, all because the British push everyone into it. They goaded the Greeks into invading. Yeah, it's just a crazy period. I hadn't read about it until this year actually. But like obviously the Orthodox shit with the Turks even comes into the Bosnian genocide. It's like the Greeks went to fight the Bosnians because they called them Turks. It's fucking mad. We have to bribe him to be consistent. I mean, I'm trying to be. I don't need the super chats like the crazy ones last week. But I mean, I just need to. I am going to be more consistent going forward. I promise. I just had a weird couple months. I've seen Greeks and Turks talking really sadly together about how their greatest grandfathers fought, seeing each other as the enemy because the real enemy is the UK told them. That's interesting, actually. Really, what's fucking wild is that France and the Bolsheviks backed Turkey, while America and the UK backed the Greeks. So the Bolsheviks were selling, and even the French were giving the Turks weapons. And it's mad because obviously the French. I don't know if the French. I don't know how much the French were involved. They probably were a lot in the Russian Civil War. So it's like, and obviously the French were allied with the British and the Americans against the Germans. So it's fucking crazy thing just to happen just after World War One. Do I think that what happened in Watchdog Legion, PMC taking over law enforcement? Fox of Fate, I don't think it's the most outlandish thing because of the numbers of police in the UK being cut drastically. I could definitely see an argument being like, oh, we'll privatise it to make it more effective, and then you just got like they're already like private police kind of forces in the UK. So yeah, for sure I could see that happening. Oh, fuck. So going the Ghostbusters thing. I was just confused because Ataturk is being contrasted with Erdogan. Alright, so I'll explain this quick. Because I've done a bit of stuff on Turkey before. Basically, Turkey's founding ideology is basically called like Kemalism now, because it's called Kemal Ataturk. And it's basically like about being a secular state. And in Turkey, they've had a lot of coups over the years because they feel like the country is either going like too Islamist or going the opposite direction and maybe becoming too communist, right? So the military usually steps in to overthrow whatever government. There's been like loads of civil, like we think of Turkey as like a fairly peaceful country, like stable-ish, but there was loads of fucking like terror attacks, bombings, loads of civil uprisings, unrest, and everything in the 60s and 70s. So it's meant to be like you're meant to stick to this founding secular ideology, but with Erdogan, obviously been in power for ages now, he's like one of these more revisionist people with like, you know, the Ottoman Empire, the most glorious Muslim empire that ever existed, like the home of the Caliph, which, you know, most Sunni Muslims looked up to as the leader of Islam, shit like that. Make Turkey the Ottoman Empire again, make Turkey like strong as it was, basically. This is sort of like revisionism Turk nationalists kind of believe in. But there's like different weird strains of Turk nationalism because obviously Turkey is the secular state founded after World War One, and the Ottoman Empire is the one before World War One or during World War One. Yeah, the Greeks also committed genocide. Yeah, it's brutal. Like, because of the Armenian stuff, that kind of becomes like, because the Armenian stuff started in World War One, but it continues in the Greek Turkish War for, you know, when Turkey's becoming independent. But the Greeks kill loads of Muslims as well. Like, it's just literally just like genocidal bloodbath, and it's no, you know, obviously the Cyprus stuff is still active, but it's no, honestly, it's no wonder. And I kind of spoke about this. Where was I talking about this? Like sectarianism generally. One of my videos last week, I believe. but yeah, like obviously the Ottoman Empire owned Greece and it owned Cyprus, and it obviously owned originally with the Ottoman Turks taking over Constantinople in 1453. It's actually just the history between them is just pretty brutal. So then the Greeks got independence, obviously, in 1821, I think, backed by the Western powers and like Russia. And then with the Turkish war, with the Greek, basically what the Greeks wanted to do with when the Ottoman Empire was dissolved, I think some of the Western countries had promised the Greeks they could have Istanbul back or something crazy. So a lot of Greek nationalists wanted to have this war to retake Constantinople, basically, which they saw as like the home of the old Greek Empire, which the Byzantine Empire, which obviously is a remnant of the original Roman Empire and stuff. So Greek nationalists, that's what they wanted after the war. And obviously for the Ottoman Turks come from Asia originally. Like various Turk groups came to the Middle East ages ago. I don't even know when it started. Maybe like the 900s or something. The Seljuk Turks are like the first ones, I think, who fought the Crusaders, the First Crusade. But yeah, like it's just such a long history of brutal conflict between these two like peoples essentially, and it's no wonder it's still such a sore spot between so many people. But then obviously because of the cultural exchange, they are like in a lot of ways very similar these days as well. Like a lot of cultural stuff has really become one. But even like the stuff with Cyprus in the 70s is pretty fucked up as well. So is the IRA based? I read something about it, but there are a lot of factions. But I'd be funny to yeah, to be honest, any conservative who says they support the IRA simply supports them because they're Irish, pretty much. I can't see any actual conservative who looks at the IRA on principle and thinks, yeah, I love these guys, unless they've got some weird perspective that the IRA might be like Catholic nationalists or some crap like that, which they weren't. Yeah, I don't know if if any conservative would ever support the IRA based on politics, mainly just based on policy, maybe just on other stuff. So I'm reading some more shit. Sorry. Blah, 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 blah. France and England didn't get along back in the day. Yeah, for sure they didn't. Some of my friends believe that privatising defence forces on sea is a good idea, and my heart hurts a little. Yeah, privatisation is just dumb because a lot of the time, in terms of like stuff like the army and shit, because you've seen. What was funny, I was watching that 9/11 documentary, and I said to my brother after he watched it as well, I said, so basically there's a scene in the 9/11 documentary, and it's like the US buy these cargo planes that are from like a scrapyard in Italy for like 400 million, right? And basically they don't even take off, so they have to scrap them for scrap metal. And I said to my brother like about that scene, I said, yeah, like that probably happened, but the people involved in the war probably don't give a shit because they probably made a ton of money on that. They probably took a lot of that like as a cut. And then I read the other day that like the US paid defense contractors and like other like PMCs like 4 trillion or maybe something crazy like 8 trillion over the whole 20-year war in Afghanistan. I was like, that there is it. And I started reading War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. I might actually read it all and do a review of it on my channel because it's like one of those books everyone always talks about. And obviously it's like, you know, popularizing this sort of like military industrial complex stuff to begin with. So I might finish that and make a video on it because it is an interesting, like, this guy was an interesting guy. It's the guy they chose to try and lead the coup against Roosevelt as well. So with Ataturk, we have a George Washington type situation. Interesting. Yeah, I guess so. Like a founding father of like a modern state. Um, so read some more stuff. Balkans are all sorts of effed up. You can't just blame the Turks on that. Kavernacle is right. Greece tried to retake Constantinople, which is why racist Europeans call Greeks just Turks. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just saying. Um, yeah, Greece hate NATO, but it's also loads of Golden Dawn members, or like the deputy of Golden Dawn. He fled to Serbia because there's some old like covert route you can get to Serbia like illegally, which was established during like the breakup of Yugoslavia and the Bosnia stuff. And they still like have those connections there. Serbia is just like a mad country, like all these like war criminals just like out in the open, like free, who've done so much crazy shit. Serbians fucking hate English people, obviously, and Americans. Like, is it Hugo Panic? That's how you say it. He said when 9/11 happened, his dad made him go buy beer and they had a party because obviously they hated the US, which is just like. I thought this probably happened more than was ever reported because I remember reading something from Yasser Arafat after 9/11 just offering his support, and even Fidel Castro saying something relatively nice, although he did like have a little caveat about US terrorism a bit later. So I thought like maybe people didn't celebrate it, but I'm like, who am I kidding? Like a lot of people probably celebrated it. The Serbia one's probably more obvious, but I'm sure other people did as well. Oh shit, sorry, I've got some super chats. This Halo fan, good to hear you discuss today, Cad. Don't agree with everything you said, but definitely more nuance than most Discord I'm seeing right now. Peace. Thanks so much, Halo fan. Appreciate you interacting in the chat. Very nice of you to give me the $7. Yeah, your contribution is appreciated. Glad you said that you don't agree with me, but it's still okay. Smith Black, thanks so much. Ivor Metzen, the Jarl of the Horse Clan. I said Bon on Twitter. I said Bon Ivor Metzen. My favourite new band. What was I going to say? But yeah, thanks so much for donations, guys. Sorry, I'm just reading my comments a bit more. Yeah, yes, and Katie saying in New York, Republicans are Irish and have supported the IRA. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. Probably like most of the people funding the IRA in the 80s were probably like, probably all fucking Republicans. Yeah, Miles, that sucks. I think that's a lot of people have that problem. Just like they were never taught history properly. Well, luckily for me, I've always just really loved it. So that's why I've always like been interested and like pursued it at university and shit like that. To be honest, Halo fan, the public transport in London is pretty good, but it's just so fucking expensive. The Netflix one, Lincoln, I would say, I don't know if anyone else watched the Netflix 9/11 documentary. I would say it's good. And it's good at getting like a picture of the war on terror afterwards, and actually has some good interviews with some soldiers who fought in Afghanistan. I'd say the one thing I keep an open mind about with people what they're saying, it has people who are in the Trump administration like slating Obama a lot, which is it can be like legit, but like when I've got like HR McMaster talking about how bad Obama was for the war on terror and shit like that, I take it with a pinch of salt. Also, most of the journalists featured are from very establishment outlets, but generally, it's good. It has interviews of like hardline like Islamist Mujahideen commanders who weren't in the Taliban, which is cool. Has like journalists who went to Afghanistan in the 90s just after the Taliban took over. Just talk about like what a mess it was. CIA people who ran the anti-Soviet stuff, and it's interesting listening to it all. And just saying like they regret not cleaning up Afghanistan afterwards because it was like Mad Max. You just had like Soviet helicopters and tanks just like in the middle of the street in like Kabul and stuff because no one had cleaned it, and it's just they didn't really have the capabilities to do it. Yeah, tomfoolery. That stuff with the 9/11 first responders is so crazy. Like, obviously, it shows the general problem even more of US not even having universal healthcare, that you can't look after people who like destroyed their bodies trying to rescue people on 9/11, but then you've got to fight the Republicans and just to get healthcare is crazy. Um, I've been to Turkey before and it's a super nice country in my opinion. Uh, Cassini, I would say just like any country, like somewhere like Turkey, like loads of people in the UK go on holiday to Turkey. But then the thing is, you're an outsider in that culture who's only staying for a brief time, and there's no way you're entrenched in the political discourse of its citizens. So you probably don't really understand. Like the thing is, I always say as well, Kasani, I don't know what like gender or race you are, but I always say to people like as a white British dude going to some places, like I have friends who've gone on holiday in Hungary and said it's nice enough. But I said, imagine if you were black or Muslim, and then maybe they'd probably treat you a lot differently, just generally. And that's something I always try and keep in mind when I go away somewhere. I'm like, if I wasn't a white guy in these like very white European countries, like how would people react to me, basically? Yeah, 9/11 just drove people insane, basically. A lot of people on my video about 9/11 on Friday said, they thought they were left wing, but then they were like baying for blood and just like saying about how hysterical it just made everyone for war, basically, and revenge. Documentary was dope. I think it was pretty good. Yeah, Lincoln. It's even-handed enough, I'd say. But like I said, just think about who's talking to you, who are the talking heads are. I think that's the important thing in documentary is like. But the one thing, the episode that is good is the Iraq War episode because they just contrast the clips of Rumsfeld, Cheney, and Bush saying about WMDs and they know where they are, to them afterwards saying there were no WMDs. They were like even Bush saying he might not have even started the Iraq War, but it sounds like horseshit to be honest. Um, Kevin, if you have time, might be interested about learning about Macedonian terrorist groups during the Balkan Wars, leading to the First World War. Yeah, the Balkan Wars are a bit of a blind spot for me generally. Obviously, you learn about the Serbians in World War One because it's like part of the triggering factor. AOC and Kavernacle sitting in a tree. Oh, I wish. To be honest, AOC is like 100% out of my league, but then obviously like her boyfriend isn't like really in her league either. So maybe I have a chance. Nah, I'm messing. I've had I've been in a relationship for like nearly 9 years and stuff. So yeah, I'm not interested. Obviously, like even just I was saying this the other day as part of my video yesterday. I was talking to my brother again. Actually, here's something I want to talk about in the chat. Actually, we can segue this a bit. Obviously in my last video, I was talking about like Love Island and like body types. I don't know if how many of you made it to the last like 10 minutes of that video, and I was talking about like, my own struggles with body image. And just because we're talking about AOC and her boyfriend and everything. So how do you guys feel about like dating these days? 'Cause I said to my brother, if me and my girlfriend were going out for nearly 9 years, and I said if we broke up, I would just be single like for as long as whatever. Like I would not want to go and pursue dating on Tinder because I don't think like I'm an ugly guy and everything, but I was just like just dating based on like a picture on a screen and a bio, and then the thing is there's two elements to that is that one you like I don't know, one like it's just based on like a really shallow thing to start with, and then two is like have to go through so many people who might be either so incompatible with you or like terrible people or like narcissistic, and then you just don't know them enough. So for me, I always said like if I was ever single again, I would just wait for like a relationship to happen naturally, and if it didn't, it didn't. But I just feel like generally, especially with our cultural emphasis on like these certain body types as well, for men and women, and Tinder, like this sort of like kind of dystopian way of dating, I just feel like I would never ever be interested in that anyway. And then like there's even like the little parts, like even if you like them enough for dating, like do you like them to be in a relationship? And then even like, you know, people often find out they don't like each other as much when they live together as well. It's like so many things you got to think about. But yeah, like I was saying in my last video, in terms of like I would be, you know, I'd hate to be judged so much on like these stupid pictures on Tinder, and then just having to go through so many different like first dates, and then maybe even finding out on like the fifth date like there's something about them I really can't stand and stuff. Like sounds like my fucking nightmare, to be honest. Um, yeah, Red Dead saying if you're Romani and go to Hungary, you'll not do well. Yeah, the Tulsi Gabbard tweet about being in Africa helping the US military was fucking funny. Um, I'm single, so what up, AOC? Yeah, but I think she's been in a relationship for fucking like years and years as well. Maybe for as long as me. 9 years, aren't I? 12. No, I'm 25, so we've been going out. Someone else asked this. We've been going out since we just turned 17. Uh, like 17, 2 months, maybe 1 month. Dating right now is really challenging, but yeah, the whole concept of Tinder is just really about hookups. That's what it feels like. Katie's saying it's so hard to date. Tinder didn't even exist when me and my girlfriend started going out, so doing Tinder for one night stands is more realistic. That's what I hear, to be honest, from people I know who use it. A 9 year relationship is impressive. Yeah, so 17. It'll be 9 years in January. It's gone really quick, to be honest. It's gone really quick once we hit 21, pretty much, or maybe even 20. Like it's just gone quick. I haven't dated in 4 years though. Ian, I feel like if I ever was single again, that would be me. Someone was saying OK Cupid and obviously Bumble are a lot better. What dating has proved to me is that women are way more awkward than guys. Yeah, well, why do you say that? Like, is this like your experience of first dates and stuff? Skippy saying I'm in my 30s. I've only known one couple in my life that have started online, lasted to marriage. Yeah, I wonder how much that's changing with younger people. I've never downloaded Tinder even as a Sigma in a college town. I don't even know how it fucking works, to be honest. Like, no one's ever sat down with me and showed me how it works. Yeah, Katie. I think nearly all girls. I was talking to my girlfriend about this actually. So Katie says not to sound like an ass, but men come up to me a lot in parking lots when I'm just trying to shop and I just want to be left alone because dating is so annoying. Yeah, like I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and she was sitting in a park reading her book, like quite far away from people. I think I spoke about it, so that's the stream. She said some guy comes up to her and starts talking to her, like trying to get her number and shit like that. And I was saying, like, even if you assume his intentions are very innocent, first of all, it's intimidating for anyone when a stranger comes up to you. But when it's like a male female dynamic, obviously naturally a lot of men are far bigger than women, so you have that like implied like it's more threatening, isn't it? So that's something men need to realize, and also men need to realize just like you don't want to be approached by a random guy, women don't want to be approached by random guys. Maybe like some people in history have had like, you know, if a woman wants to be approached or talk to a random guy, she'll probably be in a bar or a nightclub, not in a parking lot like you say, Katie, or sitting on their own in a park and stuff. Because I've seen people give that advice, like put away Tinder and go up and talk to random people. I think that's really bad advice anyway. Like only if the context, I think, is right, and like when people are on their own going about their daily lives at the gym, on public transport, I don't think that's the time, because you know you've trapped them, and men just have to realize more it's intimidating. Like obviously because I got a sister and I have a girlfriend, I'm more aware of it. But it's like it can be annoying. Like I remember I was coming back for a run like a week ago, and it was getting a bit dark, and I walked down like this more alleyway bit of the park, and there was a girl in front of me. She's walking really slow, and I was like, all right, I have a couple options here. I could either keep walking behind her and keep a bit of a distance, but then she's probably going to be really paranoid that I'm some sort of creep, which is like, considering the rate of female violence done by men, that's not an unjustified thing. I could walk really quick and then come up behind her and probably put her into a bit of a panic, or I could just wait and stand by the side for like 5 minutes and go on my phone. So I waited and went on my phone. I nearly caught up with the girl anyway because she was walking so slow. But that was really annoying. But it's like in that moment I was like, okay, it's getting dark. I feel I'm safe here. Like it's a nice part of it's where I live is quite nice. So I feel comfortable being out at night and stuff. And for me, I think guys just need to be more aware. Like if you're walking behind a woman at night and you can cross the road, like that is something you should probably consider. Just because the woman on her own, especially at night, is probably at least like assessing if you're a threat to her and stuff. And in my head, and a lot of you guys probably think this, in my head, I because I know I'm not like a bad person, I feel like I don't give off the vibe I'm like a creep, or I look like a creep and stuff like that. But then you got to remember how other people perceive you. Like to most people, I'm a tall guy with a beard. I might look quite intimidating to people, even though obviously I don't think I give off that impression. But then you got to remember how other people will view you and stuff. So yeah, generally, yeah, I would. What Katie's saying and what I'm telling you, generally would never advocate going up to women at the gym or when they're alone in public. Really. I take a while to warm up to people, and so do most women. As a result, dating is always awkward as fuck for me. That sucks. Yeah. To be honest, I'm kind of similar, but I'm very good. Maybe that's why I'm a good YouTuber. I'm very good at like talking to people. I think I said this in the last stream. I'm really good at talking to people. Like I'm really good at small talk. I just hate it. And it's like I always have good conversations. Even when I'm being like collaborating with someone I've never spoke to before. Like we always get on well enough to start with because I'm just good at that stuff. Don't always like doing it. So I don't think like. Yeah, I don't think for me dating would be like necessarily awkward in the sense that like first interactions would be awkward, but it'd probably be awkward for me being like, I really don't like this person and I've just got to keep up this charade. But yeah, I do understand that. I met my last SO on Tinder, but the vibe I get from dating apps now is just whack. Yeah, you said 4 years, so it's a while ago, really, isn't it? So like, it might have changed a fair bit. Hikmet saying, living with religious Muslim family, I'm gonna have to wait till I get a full-time career and get prepared for marriage. No casual dating. I'm fine with it. That's fair enough. I mean, I like having a girlfriend. I wouldn't really want to jump straight into marriage, to be honest. Just because I feel like going out for a long. The thing is, a lot of my friends are getting married from uni, and me and my girlfriend have literally been going out for like more than double the amount of time they have. And while I'm like happy for them and stuff, to be honest, I still think when you're young, like they're 26, I'm like, do you really need to get married at 26? Like, can't you just go out for a bit longer, just like to figure out if you're really compatible for this like longer commitment and stuff. And cafes are supposed to be a place to pick up. Yeah, I to be honest, I would say the best thing, especially for men to do, think about yourself going about your daily life, and would you like to be approached by just a man, or maybe someone you just would, or maybe a woman you weren't attracted to, for example. Think about how you've gone to the coffee shop to read your book or do some work on your computer, or you've gone to the park to read your book, or you've gone to the gym to work out, you've got a very set goal in mind, maybe you're busy later. Maybe just think about, would you want to be approached by someone random and start having a conversation or something? Being a young single guy during the pandemic is pretty hard, but I'm also not really into online dating as well. I've never had an official girlfriend in my life. Yeah, to be honest, it definitely is hard for people. for me, like, it's because I'm too picky, I think, but I've never, like, generally ever had a problem. I think this is last night. I've never had a problem, like, having relationships or, like, with women and stuff, or probably I'd say girls, because I've been in this relationship for so long now. But for me, like, I think it's just with friends as well. I'm just way too picky. Like, if I don't click with you properly, I really don't have any desire to, like, keep the relationship at all. But yeah, like, if you're not, that's the thing now, isn't it? It's like, if you're not on online dating websites, and maybe you don't have friends who have girls, I'm talking about as a man here, have girls maybe you could go on dates with, or you don't have any natural relationships at, like, work or something, then yeah, for sure, definitely be hard. Hung Sing saying, man followed me around a local health yesterday and I was picking shoes. He was quite muscly and very good at kung fu, so I was just annoyed most women never freaked. Yeah, exactly. Like, especially if he was actually just following you, like, it's not like a coincidence, then yeah, that's obviously super intimidating. Yeah, Nico saying, my partner's quite timid woman and she's been accosted by men so many times. Many women do nothing, yet arseholes flock. Yeah, it's fucking awful, isn't it? In the UK, there's a bit of a culture. It's more like a construction worker thing. But, like, that that's true in some cases, in the sense that it's like public harassment. But then you get, like, shitty harassment in clubs and bars and stuff as well. So yeah, generally not a great. My sister, even my mum has got it recently, and she's like nearly 60. And it's just like men just do it to fucking fuck with women and freak them out and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's like a power trip for most of them. So I'm reading some more stuff. Cafe Lodger's saying, how do you reveal your politics to people? I mean, in terms of, like, friendships, I normally try and work out what their politics are to even consider them to be better friends. Like, to be honest, one of my best friends from uni is so fucking dumb, like, unbelievably dumb when it comes to politics. He didn't even know who Winston Churchill was, and he's grown up in the UK his whole life. But, like, I know he's a decent enough person who's just not political. If it was a relationship, I don't know. I haven't really had to deal with that because my girlfriend's got very similar politics to me, luckily. So I don't really know. In terms of how do you reveal it, for me, it's such a part of my identity. I'd have to be, like, quite upfront with it. Like, if I found out someone was a Tory supporter, I mean, no way, no way would I date them, basically. And there was a question about this on Twitter the other day. People in the comments, here, let me know what you think of this. Someone was like, for left wing people, what is the extent of different politics you could deal with? And people were like, the extent I could deal with is a non-political liberal, and that's, I think, for me as well. It's like someone who might just be a liberal by instinct, but actually isn't very political. So they're just like kind of like decent person who doesn't know much about politics. Maybe, like, I think, that is maybe me as well. But I'd like to know what people think as well. Someone I could influence, basically. Katie saying, so many of us have fucking trauma too, just let me shop. Yeah, Katie, exactly. And to be honest, Katie, obviously, there's obviously more sinister men who do it to, like I said, to fuck with people. But I think a lot of men are just really oblivious to this shit as well, which I think should be taught more in schools and everything. Just don't talk to random people. Yeah, Katie. The one thing I like about COVID is when I was in public transport, put my sunglasses on, put a COVID mask on, and then I can just put my headphones on and just, like, people have told me I have the vibe anyway, of just, like, go fuck yourself. Like, people have always said that if they didn't know me, I look really unapproachable. Which is good because I want to cultivate that image. I don't want anyone to fucking talk to me when I'm out in public. Do I ever feel the pressure to impress? I mean, like I said, I've been in a relationship for so long, I don't really remember, to be honest. I've never been much of a show off. I'm 30 and not married. I guess I'm doing well. I don't want to get married until I'm like 32 or 33, really. So I wouldn't worry about it. Exactly, miles long. That's the key. Small talk is easy if you know how to get people to talk about themselves. Yep. Just here's a good advice for anyone talking to anyone. Ask a question. Ask a follow up question. Ask a follow up question. Ask a follow up question. Because if you're someone who's very like empathetic and like is thinking more not about yourself, I guess, thinking about other people, just most people will talk about themselves forever. And if you're like me, you'll switch the conversation around with them. But a lot of people, you can literally have a conversation for like an hour and you will barely say anything. And I've had that a lot in my life. Just like people at work, people at job interviews, friends of friends at parties and stuff. Just keep asking them questions, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of hate small talk. Because I just really can't be bothered with it, especially if I don't like them. My therapist dated his girlfriend for 40 years and they're not married. Yeah, I know a fair few people now who've been going out for decades and aren't married either. Kate's saying, it's funny because I'm an extroverted person, people person who loves having random conversation, but seriously, do not approach me in the parking lot. Yeah, like a parking lot especially is a fucking creepy one, to be honest. Like out of lots of different places, that's kind of a bad one. Tomfoolery, then you're a bit lucky then, because personal trainer is not a bad one for meeting. If you, I think you said you were straight, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, for meeting people, I guess, especially because you grow like a bit of a good personal connection with them. But what if the male is on his Sigma grind set? Yeah, if you're on your Sigma grind set after demon time, then like, don't even think about entertaining any conversations from women, basically. Being picky is understandable for sure. I'm the same way, Cav. It probably sucks a lot more when you get older, when you can't be as picky, unless you're Keemstar and you go out with 20-year-olds. Yeah, Luca. If you haven't thought about this stuff before, just think about it now, I guess. The thought of approaching a stranger at a bar, to be honest, because the most common response is I have a boyfriend, and that's why approaching someone is obviously very hard, because that's the problem as well. If you don't know if they're in a relationship, so you're just setting yourself up for embarrassment. Wait, Cafe Lodges. What about her looking like AOC? Like a girl you're approaching or something? Oh, sorry, I've actually missed a couple comments. Cavill just saying, I've come to basically hate all social environments I'm in. Thanks to the past decade of a lot of shitty people, forums like this are the one few places I get to speak. Yeah, like, to be honest, even for me, it's kind of, I guess uni was a bit shit for me because I wasn't more introverted, but I hate going to nightclubs. So like, what annoyed me is, and this is kind of like a weird take to have. What annoyed, because so I was pretty popular in high school for Americans, in secondary school, right? Like I was in like the popular gang when I was like 16, had like you know, had like a girlfriend and stuff, and like I was like in the cool gang. Even when I was older, like I was as well. So getting to uni, what pissed me off is like people, basically the people I lived with were people like who would not be in like the popular gang at school, but they were fucking excluding me because they loved drinking and going to nightclubs. So that like basically it felt like I felt like shit just because in this one environment I wasn't accepted as much. But I was like, it was annoying for me because like outside of this environment, like I am accepted and people like me, but in this one specific environment of probably the four or five boys on the planet who don't love soccer in the UK, which literally, if you don't like soccer in the UK, there's something wrong with you. If you're a boy, but then in my first year at uni, I got stuck with people who didn't like soccer and loved nightclubs, and they're also the only guys in the UK who both don't like soccer, football, and they don't like video games. So I had literally nothing to talk to them about, like as an initiation point. That's actually why I made friends with the people I stayed friends with after uni, is because I went to play football and just made some friends that way. But yeah, I get it, because like my experience generally in my life has been like really positive with like with either like dating like the opposite sex. Like obviously like me and my girlfriend get on super well. No, like 9 years has obviously been like a breeze. I'm not one of it. We're not one of those couples who's gonna be like, we've been through so much together, blah blah blah. Like people like that are weird. It's basically, it's been like such a smooth ride in general, and it just feels like even when we were younger, it felt like inevitable we'll just stay together until marriage and stuff. But yeah, I guess for me, I haven't really had the experience of having like really shitty friend groups or shitty like environments or shitty relationships. So my perspective on a lot of these things isn't great, to be honest. And obviously, like I never had to date. Like I never had to go first dates with like 5 or 6 different people and then get rejected or things like that. Yeah, Tinder is a hookup for people from 25 to 30. Francisco saying this generation's doomed to be single. I think I've been single so long I've got more picky. I have such a huge bed and it's still hard for me to share it. Yeah, that's to be honest, mate. With sleeping, like me and my girlfriend are the complete opposite. Like I love the fan on and I love the windows open. She likes the heating on and like 2 blankets, and it's just one of those things. I'm just like, when we move in together, we're gonna have to have separate bedrooms because it's way too hot in here. Like I can't stand this. 26 is young to get married. It's definitely young. Like one of them is he's Jain Indian, and he says it's more common in his culture to get married younger. But one of them is like proper English, and he's getting married young. Like get married next year. And I'm like, why the fuck are you getting married? Like, why does it matter? I almost got a cowgirl, but she's actually racist as fuck. Okay, maybe you dodged a bullet then. I could be with a non-political liberal and indoctrinate them through sex. Yeah, like the thing is, there's lots of things you can indoctrinate non-political liberals, but like political liberals are so fucking insufferable. I just stay way clear. Yeah, Tories. To be honest, Lincoln, it's hard because most Tories in the UK like generally are shy Tories. Um, This is such a weird topic as it hits close to my autistic, extroverted heart. Thanks for the coverage. As by, I just took the advice as an analogy for anyone I'd be interested in. Um, that's cool, William. Are you talking about the advice about approaching people, or I don't know, the women stuff, like don't approach women in a car park or something? Um, I'm 41 and never want to get married or have kids. I like the life. I like my life too much to do that to myself. That's cool then, on Offrio. Like, don't feel any pressure to do any of that shit. Like I'm still on the fence about having kids. Like in theory, I want them, but like in reality, like, when I think about the reality of it, do I want them? It's just like something I keep asking myself. Hopefully, when I grow up a bit more, it'll become more clear in my head. So I'm reading some more shit. I got into politics, I think, in 2011, like massively. Oh, sorry, my back. Like a girl who's a Tory, but she looks like, yeah, no way. Like if AOC, if there was a girl I could get in a relationship with like AOC was a Tory, like no fucking way. Oh, we're talking about Keemstar. People find themselves fascinating. It's not entirely wrong. People are fascinating. You might have different interests, but you learn a lot if you listen. Yeah, it depends who. To be honest, I'm too self-conscious to talk about myself loads. Even when people actually ask me loads of shit, I really try and downplay it. Like when people, I'm like, in my friendship, ask me about YouTube shit, I always downplay it and make it seem like it's not a big deal or something. Francisco, it's not the worst thing that you did that. Walked a bit quicker to class. I got interested in politics when I was in 6th grade and Obama was running for president. I started paying attention. Obama becoming president, well, actually, to be honest, I do remember George Bush being president, and I remember like the Iraq War, and I remember like Lebanon, Israel in 2006. Like, I was always aware of politics, but because I used to get up and watch the news every day when I was younger, like from like 10 to like 13, and I remember like the economic crash in like 07 to 08, and then I didn't become really political until 2012. But I was fairly political in 2011, and then I became really political at uni, and then I became really left wing about 4 years ago. Actually, probably 5 years. I think Brexit was a big thing. I was more like a liberal before Brexit, but then I turned more like properly left wing after Brexit. What people talking about NPCs? That's a shitty situation Cav described. It was okay. I still like uni, but these guys were arseholes, to be honest. I blocked them. I muted them all on Facebook the minute I moved out of their house. I would have liked going to bars, but everyone was going to nightclubs. Where I went to uni, there's just so many nightclubs. My politics were really shit when I was 13. I didn't even have politics at 13, so... Yeah, the football one I can forgive, but no video games. Brown Busters, I can forgive either of them, but you've got to have one of them. Like, you've got to, like, something like that where we can, like, in the UK, anyone from the UK who's a guy who likes football will tell you, when you meet someone new who's a guy, no matter what, one of the common bonding things between you will be football. Like, you will talk about football, and for some people that's a good way to like become better friends. For some people that's just a good way to like not make a conversation awkward. I've had both. Like, one of my best friends at the moment, who I met at uni, we both went to football tryouts, and then he didn't stay doing it, but we got talking because we both supported like Man United and stuff, and talking about football, and now we're both really good friends. I'm going to his engagement party next month and going to his wedding as well. So we still keep in contact a lot, but like at the very least, it's like a good mechanism to keep people like occupied, I guess. Yeah, Skippy. I'll have to keep out. I have to keep an eye out for that. I have to keep an eye out for that when I get a bit older. Base Mom, I have a mini fan on my nightstand. Yeah, I got my fan going all the time. It's right next to me, actually. I want to put it on right now. Do I believe people like Game of Thrones and The Witcher 3 believe in revisionist history of Europe? I think I don't know enough about the fandoms of that. Witcher 3 is a bit more political with like anti-racism and shit, even though, you know, obviously Poland has massive problems with all that stuff, and it's like a Polish thing. Hi, Little Fox, thanks for joining. Kate saying, my dad voted for Bush the first time and no one will ever let him live it down. That's funny. That's like the people we know who vote for Brexit, although like that isn't as bad, I don't think. Do I live with my girlfriend? If so, when did you guys do that? No, I don't. We're going to move to Spain for a couple months next year, and then maybe Vietnam afterwards. Don't know for how long. And then when we get back from doing all that, hopefully put a deposit down somewhere, but maybe just rent. Who knows? Mormons get married right out of high school. Yeah, to be honest, I see that shit on Reddit all the time. People who like 22 getting married, and then like just so much drama happening because of it. Katie, thanks so much for the donation yet again. In honor of the toothbrush I forgot to buy, I have some dollars. Now, I appreciate the donation as usual. Katie is single-handedly funding this channel. She's like the Koch brothers of the Kavernacle. What if the girl was an Oswald Mosley stan? Yeah, I'd like tell her to fuck off. Oh, I just read your comment, Katie. Now I get it. got back from Target, I needed to get a toothbrush. I spent like $50 on things I don't that weren't a toothbrush. I feel that a lot. I've done that so many times. Like mainly not going to get one thing, but like I had a list and I buy loads of shit. And I'm like, oh, I forgot like 2 things on this list. Like I'm such an idiot. My politics make normies run away. The good thing about living in London in the UK is most young people are fairly left wing, especially university students here. So that would be pretty okay. To be honest, if I really wanted to date someone new, I'd probably just try and like ask my friends if they know anyone, just to avoid like really crazy people. So many friends turn right wing. To be honest, at uni, you make so many, like, my girlfriend had this, I didn't have much because I was too picky. She has so many, like, matey friends that people should go, like, partying with and stuff, but not really great friends you'd stay in contact with afterwards. Oh, Ian, thanks for the donation. Thanks for chilling and making solid content. Have some American fans. Thanks so much, Ian. Appreciate that. Very nice of you. Thanks for engagement in the chat as well. Skippy saying, Cav, do you follow other sports in the UK besides football? Football's a big one for me. I follow sports like I've got like I used to be quite big on rugby union, club rugby union because where I live there's like a couple clubs. But I kind of fallen out of that. My friends are big fans of rugby union clubs, so I keep up to date with rugby union a bit. Not big on cricket. I'm like aware of like tennis and like some other stuff like that, but not really into any of it. Football's really the main one for me. So you thought they were British because someone's wearing a West Ham shirt. Yeah, you probably don't get too many like non-British people wearing West Ham shirts, to be honest. Most of my family voted Bush twice. Man, that sucks. Honestly, I'm hoping for more shirtless Cav pics. To be honest, like I kind of stopped taking them. Like so basically I'll show you guys. I have a whole album called like Progress on my phone. Probably won't show it too much. Just I'll show you the bottom because there's pictures I put on the video the other day. So it's just like my progress, but I actually stopped updating it in 2019 because I just feel like my fitness has declined massively. Although I did look pretty good this time last year, and damn, I'm looking at all these photos when I used to play football. I did look really good. Like it's my peak, to be honest. I look good. March 2020 and December 2020. I looked really good, I think, for myself. But you're probably not gonna ever see those pictures. My first trap pictures. But the thing is, right? Like I hope if you guys watch that video, I made the point. Like I did show myself without my shirt on and like my muscles and stuff. But I was trying to contrast it with the Love Island pictures I just showed before because you can see like I'm in like good enough shape and stuff. But like compared to these images we get in the media with like the Love Island guys being like totally jacked, like not only do they have 8 packs and 6 packs, they have huge arms and stuff. Just like completely in my mind, because a lot of people also made the point out a lot of these people are probably on performance enhancing drugs as well. So like totally unattainable for most of us, and even like me, someone who works out a lot. Like I'm really tired right now. I bought this exercise bike so I can watch Vikings or watch football while I exercise, but also trying to rehab my knee as well a bit more because I destroyed my knee ligaments playing football like nearly 2 years ago now. 2 years ago now, I'm like an old man. I can't get over it. But yeah, I hope I made the point. Like you can look pretty good, but then at the same time, it's just like it's really nothing compared to the guys we see in like pop culture, which really sucks. Hey, Ophius Mando, appreciate you joining. I'll probably be live for a bit longer. I over leveraged myself last week, so it's a fiver, as you Brits say. No, never ever feel like you ever have to donate. And that goes for anyone in this chat. Like, I don't live stream. Like when I make videos, I obviously take into consideration the monetization. But live streams, I don't do it for the money. That's why it is quite easy not to do them like sometimes, because I know they're not generally. I don't make money of them really, apart from like last week where it was pretty crazy, people trying to outbid each other. I just do it 'cause it's fun. I like engaging with you guys because I get too many comments on my videos really to respond to a lot of them. Whereas the live stream chat is small enough where I can read most of them, so that's why I like doing it. Miles Long, I generally don't watch too much conspiracy YouTube. Taxa Rich, what's up, England, bro? How you doing? Yeah, I'm doing fine. Video yesterday did well. Some good views last week as well. Yeah, generally everything's going alright, to be honest. Got a bit of an arm injury, which is annoying. So I talk about all the fitness stuff, but I've done something there, bicep curling. I haven't done weights for like 3 weeks, which because I have this. I explained in my last video. I have this weird that weird thing in my head where I'm never happy with my body. So that's not been fun. So read some more stuff. I like Harlequins just because of the name. Yeah, a couple of my friends support Harlequins. Crazy they won last year actually. Getting married from 1922 is a recipe for divorce. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, the code's all right. Atheist Manda, I saw that. How the fucking hell? Like these anti-SJWs, it's just a cult, really. Like they're so zealous to find anyone who disagrees with them. My video tomorrow might be about the Court Rings and Geeks and Gamers politics channels, which I didn't even know the Court Ring had a politics channel, but he does, which is crazy. Lots of US military families marry early because of the benefits. Yeah, I've seen that a lot as well. It's funny, I even knew what a West Ham shirt looked like. Have you watched Green Street? Is that how you know what it looks like? Dragonborn, sorry you've had a bad experience with relationships. The cricket final played. That was who was it? England versus. I forgot about that game, but I remember sticking it on. Half a boy. I wouldn't say go to college to meet people, but 23 definitely isn't too old for college. For my masters, I was only 21, and loads of people I was actually the youngest in the class. Like my best friend in that course was 25. Some people were like 35, 29. Like nearly everyone was way older than me. It honestly doesn't really matter, to be honest, when you're in university. So yeah, I'd say if you want to go college, go college. 23 is not too old. I wouldn't say go to just make friends though. I'd say join do you like sports? Join a sport club is a main thing. I'd say, and if you go uni, do that as well. I voted for Romney when I was 18. It's my darkest secret. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. Like Romney's not Bush or Trump, but yeah, still quite bad. West Ham. David Cameron is an Aston Villa fan, like Prince William, I'm pretty sure. Dude, you look amazing. That V shape. Oh my god. Yeah, thanks, little fox. I appreciate the compliments. To be honest, like I'm not like such a compliment. Like trying to get compliments that I say I look bad. To be honest, I know I don't look bad in those photos, but I'm saying like for me, like, and what some people said in the comments is like, why I point that out is because I don't have problems with like my weight or like motivation for exercise. I never have. But even for me, just because of like these unrealistic body standards, I just never feel happy enough with my body. Like if I'm in like lean shape, I think I need to get bigger. If I'm bigger, think I need to be lean as well. And for me, that's just I just don't have enough time to focus on both of them. Like today, I just did like a massive workout on the Ring Fit on the Switch, like big ab workout and some other like yoga stuff, and then I just did the bike for like an hour or something. And like I'm getting like I've been doing that for a couple of weeks now, just focusing on cardio. So I'm getting a bit skinny again. And I'm just like constantly like looking at my arms, being like, shit, like gotta get back on the weights. Reading some more shit. The Court Ring, I just peed in my basement. Base mum, the Court Ring actually joined my live stream once, and everyone just started saying that shit to him, and then he said, I'm going to go and pee in my basement. I'm not even joking, that legit happened. It's because my channel got demonetized, and I think it was his fans, and I think he was just trying to like do damage control, so he's trying to be like my mate. Yeah, the Corbyn channel is it is a politics channel anyway, but he has a specific politics channel. Are you going to buy Deathloop? Probably not. I'm saving for Far Cry 6 and Battlefield 2042, and I want to get Death Stranding upgrade for PS5 as well. Yeah, after 25, shit just starts hurting. I said that to my friend at football last week. I just because he's hurt his ankle like years ago, and it really hurts. And I said when I was 22, 23, I felt invincible, and now I'm 25, just getting random injuries everywhere. Like my knee is just like unbelievable how I haven't gotten better from it. I did this 2 years ago, and like I'm back to like football regularly and like stuff, but I can't go running anymore. Like I just literally can't without hurting it. I used to be a massive runner. Like I'd run like three or four times a week. I fucking love it, and then I literally just can't do it anymore. It just hurts my knee too much. Sydney saying, I really appreciated your self-disclosing in that Fat 4 video. It was good to hear a male perspective as a larger bodied femme person. Yeah, thanks for saying that. Like someone else, a couple of comments said that, like, you don't really hear the male side of it. But like the only time you hear the male side of it, annoyingly, seems to be like from incel types, like talking about, well, women only want the chads, like 6 foot, 3 ripped guys from Love Island. But I'm saying like, in my mind, like I know loads of, I actually probably know more attractive women going out with, like, not that this matters, but like people who aren't, men who aren't as good looking and might actually have a bit more weight on them. I see that a lot more, to be honest, than I see it the other way around. So I think these standards are largely imposed on men by ourselves, rather than like some sort of dating thing. I don't know, being in like the culture, I guess. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing KOTOR, Katie. I'll keep what you just said in mind when I'm trying to, like, when I'm going through it, like, think about these messages. But yeah, like most of these games are fairly progressive, like, but these idiots miss out on it completely. His wife went up for pizza without him. What would we expect? Capitalism needs us all to hate our bodies and buy into diet culture. It's insidious. Yeah, like, capitalism has a lot to do with it because of the marketing, really, isn't it? Like, weight loss, gym memberships, all this shit, really. Yeah, he joined this live stream once, and everyone just harassed him out by saying, go pee in your basement. Yeah, who said that? Ed. I probably might make a video on anti-SJWs being really political. No, base mum. Thankfully, like people like Vosh and Carl Kalinske, a couple other people just like called YouTube out on Twitter, and they quickly changed it because YouTube basically runs on an AI. But basically what happened, and it happened to the Surfs as well, this other YouTube channel, when they criticised the quartering, is they think their videos got mass flagged for harassment, and then YouTube says they have a human review it, but they don't, and then they got permanently demonetized, but they got it fixed. So I got permanently demonetized. This is in March. Thankfully, there was like loads. I got like 1,000 reads, not 1,000 reads, 1,000 likes on Twitter, and like loads of prominent leftist Twitter accounts were calling YouTube out. So thankfully, I got it back really quick. But yeah, very annoying. It was pretty devastating when it happened. Is there a male-dominated culture that doesn't impose six-pack muscle types? Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. Base mom saying a lot of women don't care about attraction. They want a partner who's loyal and reliable. It's not healthy to obsess over looks. Looks fade. Personality is forever. Yeah, that's so true. But like I was saying earlier, I think before you joined Base Mum, just things like Tinder have just like fueled this culture even more, I think. Yeah, he really did that. Yeah, he did do that. I'm not lying. Yeah, Dragonborn, I think Far Cry 6 would just be more of the same. To be honest, I'm playing Far Cry New Dawn right now. I just bought it because it was cheap. and I'm really really enjoying it. Actually, I'm enjoying it because it's the same map, but 17 years later after a nuclear war, and like it's cool to see the cult from the first game now like this like really primitive society which they wanted to be, and like the father character being in it but being a bit different and everything. Yeah, the God of War stuff that is so ridiculous. They're talking about Fenrir's mother, who's a frost giant, being black, and saying it's like against Scandinavian culture. I'm like, Jesus Christ has been depicted as a white man for nearly the whole of history when he clearly wasn't white. So please spare me being pissed off about one frost giant being black in their human form or something. Fredophobia is the case against Super Mario Bros. Alright, so I've been streaming for a while now. I don't know actually how long I've been streaming. I think I'll leave it there. To be honest, I'm actually struggling for video ideas this week. So if you've ever thought of something that fits in on my content, would appreciate someone messaging me. Discord or Instagram, you can DM me. I've turned it off on Twitter because I just don't want random Twitter DMs. So new video tomorrow. Check out the one yesterday if you haven't watched it the whole way through, because my main point of the video is for the last 10 minutes, not the first 20. Live stream again on Thursday, hopefully. I'm going to be on a former anti-SJW's YouTube channel on Thursday, someone called Nerdette Newsstand, which is funny because when they were an anti-SJW, they actually used to leave some kind of like more critical comments, but then they've said they've completely changed their content, and then you can see it on their channel. So I'm going to go on their channel. We're just going to talk about anti-SJW stuff. So I'll link that maybe at the weekend to show people what I'm doing. But yeah, that's probably it. Based on what I'm saying, I'm in my psych courses. We learn intelligence is more important for most women. Looks are important for some, but there's a difference. Women seek security, men seek someone to mate with. I think that kind of plays into like just general sex as well. Like sex for men is way more about the visuals, where like I was reading about that porn for women, and it's more about like atmosphere and like certain different things that men don't really value. So like for sure, like I can understand why women would go for like less attractive men than the other way around. But yeah, basically I'm also saying there's obviously people go for looks in both. Anyway, it's 5 a.m. in South Africa. Yeah, it's 4 a.m. here, so I'm gonna go off, probably eat something, play some video games, and go to bed. And then it's like Groundhog Day. Do it all again. Exercise and watch Champions League and make my video and then go to bed. Also, my video upload times are getting ridiculous. I uploaded at fucking 5:30 on Monday. But stop rewarding me when I upload late by giving me really good views. Because normally I upload at like 3 a.m. Sorry, King Cyrus, I'm about to go. When do I wake up? I woke up at 2 p.m. today, so I went to bed at 7 a.m. I woke up at 2. Normally I'd say like 6 a.m. to 3 if I'm really tired. I am very tired today just because I've been exercising a lot. DM him for chat. Yeah, ideas if you ever want to DM me. Been so busy. No worries, King Cyrus. Catch you in the next one. Atheist Man is saying it's funny how you try to show the political meaning behind media. Past the political correctness of strong women, they never believe you. Yeah, Atheist. It feels like a completely like futile thing to do. Little Fox. Honestly, I've been on really small channels. Like I'm not someone who discriminates based on anything. Like if you want to see, I've been on a channel with like who was on like 50 subs. Connor from the Progressive American. I don't know how many they have now, but yeah, like if you ever want me on something, I think you're on the Discord, Little Fox. So just give me a message and we can try and organize it. Honestly, I that goes for most people. Like as long as you actually are a content creator, I don't really give a shit what the size of your channel is. So we can just work it out. So yeah, like I said to people before, if you're a smaller YouTuber or Twitch streamer, I'm not unapproachable, and I'm not like to be honest, I've never ever messaged anyone bigger than me to come on their channel like in my life, because I find it really intimidating. But honestly, I'm not like that. So if you actually have a Twitch channel you upload on or stream on, and you have a YouTube channel that's the main thing. If you have something you actually do already, I'm totally up for coming on. I'm probably not up for coming on if you just want to make one and have me on as your first video. I don't feel as comfortable with that, because it just feels like I don't know. It just feels like a bit less like you're interested in making content. Maybe you just want to maybe get me on to try and, I don't know, start your channel or something, which I maybe not as up for, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, if you're listening to this and you have a YouTube channel, you have a Twitch channel, and you want me on, just give me a message on Discord or Instagram. We'll try and work it out over the next couple months. Yeah, so you are cool though. Okay, thanks, Anafrio. Wish I could lend you some time. That's fine. Wait, what are people talking about? Hey bro, you rock, love the channel. Thanks so much, Kai. I appreciate you saying that. All right, I'm just gonna go. I am trying to go. Yes. Okay. So yeah, like I said, if you are someone who wants me on, just message me. And yeah, next stream on Thursday, video tomorrow. So thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for donations. Appreciate everyone.